control 25% equivalent of your GDP. The media, okay, when you have entered the market, the whole paid news scandal that Mohan mentioned, here is a problem. I say this in a considered way. Our media have a structural compulsion to lie. You are invested in the stock share bazaar. You are owning millions of shares in 25, 30 companies. Your reporting can never expose those companies. Your reporting can never tell the people the truth about the market, because your money is there in billions of rupees. How will you ever tell the truth about the share bazaar? They are too invested in the share bazaar, in the market, to be able to tell you the truth about it. Now, every time I go to the media seminars and conferences, I hear the job of the media is to speak the truth to power. For me, this is a cliche. Our job is no longer just to speak the truth to power. First of all, that is very naive. When you tell me I should speak the truth to power, it is implying that power is very innocent and naive, and they don't know what's going on. Power knows much better than any journalist what is actually happening. Those in power know much better than us. But we are asked to speak the truth to power, as if they will listen to us and say, oh yes, we didn't know this, let us correct it. The real job of the journalist now is to speak the truth about power. Constantly, incessantly. To speak the truth about power, the power structures that rule this country, who they are, what they are. As I said, by another proposition for you, the richer the media get, the poorer, the worse off the average journalist is. Between COVID-19 and now, more than 4,000 journalists have been sacked, retrenched, lost their jobs. I have been on a press council subcommittee looking at the retrenchment. We've sent questionnaires to all the newspapers. You should see the arrogance with which they've replied to us. Their lawyers replied, this is not the business of the press council. You are to worry about freedom of press. This is hiring practices of our company. What right do you have to question? This is how they speak. That is the arrogance of corporate power. Okay, then ultimately, do you know, in fact, the Delhi Union of Journalists has filed an affidavit in the Supreme Court saying in 22 end, 3,500 journalists have lost their jobs, and 4 to 5 times that number of non-journalist media workers, cameramen, others, have also lost their jobs. Ultimately today, when you come to the issue of facts, we have 2 schools of journalism. There are many schools teaching journalism, but there are 2 schools of journalism. One is journalism, the other is stenography. Corporate media seeks to reduce journalists to stenographers of power. So, we have to ask ourselves, do I want to be a stenographer or do I want to be a journalist? And then you will know which facts, which reality that you are going to be speaking about. And so, trying to understand Indian society's problems through the framework of media is a folly. They are trying to homogenize where they have diversity, but they reflect brilliantly the inequality, as I said. Look, one example you take. How did they cover the farmers' struggles in this country? The biggest legal, constitutional, peaceful, democratic protest in the world in 30 years was reported as destroying traffic. Actually, it was the government of India that dug trenches in the highway, national highway, not the farmers. That's how we reported the farmers' struggle, much larger than Occupy Wall Street or any other struggle that took place in the last 30 years. Why? If you went, as I spent many, many days in the camps at Singur, at Singhu, at Tikri, Ghaziabad, Ghazipur, Shahjahanpur, every second slogan was anti-Ambani, anti-Adani. That was never reflected in the media. That was never coming on your television, because Mr. Ambani is the biggest owner of media in this country, and what media he does not own, he is the biggest advertiser. Second, the other thing that the media have been doing, because it's profitable for them to be tied with fundamentalist forces, I cannot recognize the Indian media of 50 years ago and today in terms of their fanning communal prejudice and hatred. It's also become a business tactic. It's also become a business routine. It benefits them. They do it because there is profit in it. Understand this. It is a very serious development. We look at these television anchors and think, wow, these are very powerful people. And yes, they are. But they are powerful only as long as they are on the same side as the powerful. They are powerful as long as they are with the powerful. Someone goes against them. If they go against power, they are out of a job. Very few exceptions were there to this rule. Like someone like Ravish Kumar has kept his soul, kept his heart, and continued to fight. But what a fight it is, what a struggle it is. So, lastly, I want to say this, that look at it globally also. How alternate realities are created. How have the great media, Western media, US media, whom we take as our inspirational examples, how have they covered Gaza? How have they covered Palestine? How have they covered, how have they covered Iran? Nobody, not one newspaper writes an editorial on, they write editorials on the fact that Iran is trying to get nuclear weapons. They never mention that Israel already has 200 nuclear weapons. They never once mentioned this. The greatest journalism of the last 25 years has not come from the mainstream media. It has come from WikiLeaks. It has come from Edward Snowden. It has come from Intercept. It has come from people outside the conventional media. So what do we do in conclusion? One, don't make laws aimed at journalists. Make laws aimed at monopolies. Make laws, have legislation breaking monopolies. It was what happened in '69 that gave us a great banking system that enabled, a doubling in production in agriculture. But today again we are trying to privatize that banking system. So if you look at the kind of laws that are there today, whether the 2023 Telecom Act, the 2023 Draft Broadcasting Regulation Bill, the 2023 still hanging fire, DPDP, that is the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Yeah. It's what's happened. And by the way, we rank 151 out of 180 in the nations of the world in Press Freedom Index. So what are we looking at? We need to make a complete break with this constructed reality, and that is going to happen when journalists and all of us connect not for quotes with big bosses and corporate leaders, but we bring ourselves closer and closer to the masses, to society, as Indian journalism did for 150 years. And I'm very pleased to see that the rural journalists, district journalists of Karnataka are getting their bus pass. That's a very good thing. I'm entirely in favor of it. Yeah, we need to break monopolies. We need to mandate, perhaps legally, mandate diversity of voices in the media. We have to do that. Like we mandate diversity in representation in parliament. We have to mandate diversity of voices in media, and we have to reclaim the great traditions of the media in the freedom struggle, like the tradition of H.S. Doraiswamy. Thank you.